Hey guys, welcome back to another episode of G-Made CNC. Today we're going to be doing a coolant tank upgrade for the Tormach. I was going to build one from scratch, out of steel and have it powder coated. And I don't know, I was just at the local Home Depot and just walking around and came up with a few ideas. So I started this project last night, took some pictures, so I'll try to throw them in there. But this is the gist of it. We got this is a 20-gallon tank. I'll leave a description and part numbers for all this stuff. This is just a I think 18-inch painter's tray. What we did was we cut off the front of it right here. I had some aluminum laying around and just screwed it in the back and then just bent the tabs over. This will sit on an angle, which I'll show you in a minute. And this was in the painting section. I believe it's for straining rollers and stuff, side of a bucket. So we're going to use that in here to keep the pump off the floor of the tank. These are just some pieces of S-slip. I used to do Central Air for a living, so I had this kicking around, but you can pick up any piece of aluminum or anything. Just straight rods, I'll explain in a second. And our other tank is, I think this is 24-inch paint bucket, paint roller tray, I guess. And what I did was I sliced out the back here, which I'll show pictures I'll throw up. And I had this mesh laying around. I'll see if I can find out where I got it from. And I cut two pieces, one 4 by 17.5, I believe it was. And I siliconed that down first, let it dry overnight. And then I made this second mesh to go over it with a 1-inch overhang on either side. And the overhang is for pieces of S-slip to lay on top, and then we'll put sheet metal screws from the other side straight through, so it pinches this mesh to the box, the roller tray, so this way there's no chance of it ever falling out. So in theory that will sit exactly like that outside of the Tormach. And this will sit inside the machine, so all the coolant and chips and everything will fall down into here, roll down here, and chips will get trapped in here. And then all I have to do is just pick it up, bring it to the garbage, and dump everything out. So they fit pretty good. I was going to build a similar setup to this, but all out of steel. And then I have it sent down powder coated. And it's been a project that I've been like prolonging because of the fact that it was going to take so much work. But I think this is just as good. The reason I'm doing this was the old chip tray that was stuck inside the Tormach. Used to go right down there. And the problem is anytime you got a big project running for a while, it would just clog up, and then I'm in there with a vacuum trying to suck it out while I'm still working, and it's sucking up all my coolant. And honestly, it was a pain in the rear cleaning out the vacuum, and it was just a mess. So the idea now is I got the hose I could just wash down the machine, everything will just flush right out of it down into this chip tray, and then come the morning time after everything has been dripped out, I can just dump that and start fresh for the day. Alright, so I modified all that. Like I said, I'll throw pictures up throughout the video of what I did and how I measured it and stuff. And I drained the tank, pulled the pump out, and just let that drip dry overnight. So now what I have to do is just unplug from the back of the Tormach the pump, so I can route the wire through the top of this and then get the tank out completely. So let me do that, and we'll get back to this. Okay, now that we got the pump out, this whole area all cleaned up. There was just so much splashed out coolant and stuff that fell on the floor. Water evaporates and it's just oil. So I got the machine, pump out, cleaned up. There's the old tank. There's some residue on the bottom. So it's fairly clean considering. It's been there for a few months. So let's get that apart. So the new tank will sit just like that. So any of that scum, residue, chips, whatever, will stay at the bottom. It won't get sucked up. So hopefully that'll avoid it. Plus we have the filter there to catch anything else that gets through. Just picked up some new filters. Fairly cheap, they're like $8 for a package of 2. So next step is let's get this screen screwed down and permanently put in, and then we can start assembling this. So it's hard to do with one hand. So the effect will be similar to that, and we'll put screws from the other side sinking this way, and another one to the back side here. So no matter how much weight is inside this, there's no chance of this pulling down or separating. Like I said, it's all siliconed underneath all the way around, and once I get it screwed down I may silicone it again. So let me get this put together, and we'll get right back to it. Okay, we got that all screwed in. Nice and tight. Let's just stop the screen. It's a pretty tight mesh. Okay. I also had a piece of aluminum angle iron laying around, so I just cut it down to 17.5 inches across, screwed that in to help support It's not going anywhere. It's sitting on a lip all the way around. And across the side. And it gives us enough room right here for our hoses and a wire to come through. You just take it out. There's your tank. I'm loving this little cover that they got on here. So when you pick it up, all the chips, they're gonna fall out. You can literally just pick it up by the handle and dump it out. So we got that going. The only other thing I have to do before we put this in is I run this coolant tank gauge. They're like, I believe 35 bucks. I got this one from Little Machine Shop. Instead of having to keep checking the tank, I can see my level off of that. So I just got to take that out and then drill a hole in the side of that and reinstall it. So I'm going to do that and then we can get this in place. Okay. Coolant hose is in. Gauge and pump are ready. So let's get, I guess we'll call it the slide. Okay, so that sits in there. It can't come out. So anything that splashes gets caught. It's sitting up a good inch and a half higher than the this plate here. I'll just, everything will just slide down right into the chip tray. A little difficult with one hand. So there you go. So everything will just slide down here into this pan. And this stays in place. You could always just push it back and then pull the chip tray out. It's got a little feet, locks it in, can't move. And for any additional, screening purposes, John Grinsmo had a great idea using the, I believe it's fish tank filters. You could throw a big mat in here. Underneath this, it'll just catch everything. Or I did an upgrade on the lathe. Just a washable HVAC filter. As you can see here, it's very fine. And the tray just comes up, and I just toss it. Dump everything out and put it back in. And it stops everything from going down inside those little holes. So that's just another option. So, doesn't take up much room. I can still sit my vacuum, right here, and just reach in, pull the chip tray out, whatever I need be. So everything will just wash out down through there. So no more having to sit here and vacuum this whole thing out every other day. because it starts clogging, slowing up the coolant level. So now I just gotta get this plugged back in and hook up my wash hose and the coolant lines, and then we can dump some coolant in and see how this thing works. Alright, I'll be right back. Okay, got the lines all hooked up, they're all tight, all plugged back in. I just brought them out. There's a hole right there. Brought them at the back side. This way, if I need to pull a pump out or move anything, you know, it's on the back side. I can slide it out this way and work on it. So let's just get this together. Not designed for one hand. Let's fill it up. Okay, I'm gonna put the camera down for a second. All right. There we go. And you can see, that's why I flattened them. Can we see over there? So, alright. Let me just hook up the coolant line here, and then we'll dump some fluid in this. Okay, coolant line's all hooked up. Alright, coolant here. Alright, cleaned up. Yeah, somewhat. I'm sure there's a ton of chips sitting underneath the bed here. So, what I'll do, get you set up on a tripod here, and I'll dump some of the coolant in. You guys can see it work. You guys will probably see it before I do. See all the chips that I've collected already. That was a whole 5 gallons. Drain out. Put that in like 30 seconds, 40 seconds. And the tank was able to handle it. The old setup with that tray, it would have overflowed. Is it in there? No, not yet. We'll let this finish draining, and then we'll pull the cover off, and we'll take a look and see how much chips it actually collected. Okay, it's been sitting for about a, I don't know, half hour or so. I just started doing some cleaning, clean the monitor and stuff. So, as you can see, there are a ton of chips in there. That was all pretty much stuck on underneath the mill itself. So, let's get this out. And we'll see what's in, what kind of chips there are. See how well it did. You can see the coolant. I dumped 5 gallons into it originally. That's my sight gauge. I wound up altogether about 14 gallons in there. Now what I'll do is I'll just measure the height of the coolant sitting in that tray. Then I'll measure the height here so I'll know exactly how high the coolant level is in here. And then I'll have to just adjust this, and then I'll put new marks. But if you guys buy one of these, the instructions will explain exactly how to set it up. So this way, I know exactly how much is in there. And these marks were for the old tank. Each mark was 1 gallon of coolant lost. So what I'll do is I'll go back through the same thing, drain a gallon, maybe 2, you know, and I'll do marks on it so I know exactly how low I am. So that said, here's all the chips. Did a pretty good job of holding them back. So now what I'll do is just dump this in the garbage. I'll wash it out with a hose, and we'll get it back in there. Okay. I just dumped it out in the garbage and literally just took a hose to it and just washed it down. Okay, let's get it back in there. There we go. As simple as that. Lines are empty. If the air gets out of it, it'll be fine. Actually, no decrease in pressure at all. That's just air in the, there we go. That'd be about your average coolant flow. Not the 5 gallons I threw in earlier. Tank I'm using the pump I'm using, I believe is a 1/6 horse, 1600 gallons an hour. More than enough for what I need, as you saw with the between the hose and the coolant, 3 lines running all at the same time. Hold steady at 6 psi. Well, there you go, guys. Hope this was helpful. If you got any questions, please comment below. Please like, share. You can follow us on Instagram. A lot of these pictures go up there first before the videos come out. In the description below, I'll leave all the model numbers and all the material I used for this, so you guys could do one yourself if you do choose to. I appreciate you guys watching. Take care. See you next time.